guys? It's your boy Brandin with Clean Tintz, back with another one. This is going to be a MH-400 plotter setup. There is a separate video for the frame, but this is just for the blade and the plotter, right? So this plotter has a vacuum strip on it, so we can't cover that up with tape. So what I'm going to do is because you're going to need 1 inch roll of Gorrila tape, and then you're going to need a 1/2 inch roll of brown Teflon tape. Okay, technically you could just use this over the cut strip and probably be okay, maybe a couple layers, but I personally like to have the Gorrila tape and then the Teflon tape. Alright, so and the first thing I like to do to any plotter that I get, I take it and I buy a strip of LED lights and I stick underneath here so I can see my cutting surface and what I'm working with. Okay, you just turn it off, on and off with a little block. So we're going to take this Gorrila tape and I'm going to run it across here like this, but then I'm going to come back and run my knife in this groove right here and cut this extra tape off. Okay, so I'll come back and show y'all when I get that done. Now I have my tape ran across there. Now I'm going to come back with a card and I'm going to push the tape down very, very good. And I think it's a good thing to point out, you want to use Gorrila tape and not just some regular duct tape, because Gorrila tape is thick, and it's that other duct tape, the cheap stuff, it's too thin for what we're trying to do, because we're trying to build a good foundation, a strong base for this cut strip to run on. And that other duct tape is just too thin, it just doesn't work like this Gorrila tape does. So now we have that. Now we have to come back and we have to cut along this groove. You should be able to just run your blade along here, and then we're going to remove that tape. Alright, so here we go. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to find the groove, stick our knife in it, and we're just going to run it down all the way down, and I'm pushing with a good amount of pressure, right? Go ahead and run that up. And now, as you can see, now I'm exposing these vacuum strips again, because we paid for them, we're going to use them. They actually do help keep the film in place, believe it or not. We're going to move our cutting head, and then we're going to come back and we're just going to continue cutting until we get to the other end. And like I said, this is just my personal preference. Obviously you can just use the Teflon tape, maybe put 2 layers there, but you're still going to have to trim the Teflon tape a little bit. Okay. Now we have that. Let's come back to this side. We're going to come back this way, like so. Okay. Alright, now we got that done. Now we're going to come back with our Teflon tape on top of the Gorrila tape. And you use this Teflon tape because it's super easy to remove when you need a new cut strip. Unlike that Gorrila tape. That Gorrila tape leaves a sticky mess. It's hard to remove. Okay. Now we're going to come in here. I'm going to line this up like so. Like so. I'm just going to do this the whole way down. Okay. Now we have our Teflon tape on there, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our card and we're going to smooth it down, make sure it's nice and firm on there. I always leave a little long end over here, so if I need to pull it off, I can just grab it and pull it right off. Super easy, super simple. Alright, now onto our blade setup. We're going to take our blade, and you want this blade to barely be exposed. I found with this machine that, I mean, it doesn't even look like it should cut. That's how much blade is out of here. It literally feels like nothing, right? So we're going to drop our blade in there and make sure that little ring on the blade holder is below this black piece. Alright, so now we're going to move it down. We're going to put a piece of film in here, and we're going to give it an old test run, good old college try. Okay, on an old piece of film. I'm going to use some old 50% carbon. Also, another thing with this, so if you're going to use a 40-inch roller, you need to use this roller and this roller. Alright, so we're going to pull it through like this. Oh, I forgot. I need to show you guys how to set up the rollers. So with the rollers, the pinch rollers, this one comes with individual pinch rollers. You're just going to take these things and you want them just barely tighten them down. You're going to need 3 of them on this particular machine if you're running 40 and 24-inch rolls. So these other 2, just push them all the way this way. So we're going to tighten these down. I mean, it's just barely. You see that? Because these rollers have fine grit rollers, so they really grab hold to the film. Alright, so now we got that. Now we're going to push some of the film through, and we're going to watch the edge of this film with the edge of this roller. And the way that I put the film in there is I'll feed it through, get it where I want it, and then I'm going to twist this up. I'm going to twist the roll up. This is the film side up, the liner side is touching the plotter. And I'm going to twist this tight while I hold right here, okay? Then once I got it nice and tight, then I'm just going to lock this roller, and then I'm going to lock this roller. You only need 2 rollers, one on each end. This roller right here is not locked. It's for when I use a 24-inch roll. So now we're going to make a test. We're going to shoot some out. As you can see, this plotter is very easy to get the film to go straight. Okay, so now we got it. Now we're going to set got our blade just barely sticking out. I mean, it doesn't even look like it should cut, the amount of blade that's sticking out. Alright, now I got my force on, we're going to start with our force on 50, and then we're going to make a cut. So we're going to hit menu, over, force, we're going to put it on 50. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a test cut, and then if it's not enough, then we're going to bump it up by 5. Then make another test cut, bump, and we're going to go by 5s until we get to 100. If you get to 100 and it's still not cutting just the film and leaving the liner, then you're going to need to bump your blade out a little bit more and start over at 50. Alright, if you do this, if you start at 50 and make a cut and it cuts through the film and the liner, you need to take your blade out and back it up some more. So now we've got that. Now, sorry guys, I'm still learning how to operate this thing. So now we're going to set our blade right inside of our roller. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to open club cut. Okay, then we're going to come up here and I'm going to draw a little tiny square. It's 2 inches by 2 inches, and then I'm going to hit cut. And we're going to cut it and we're going to see what we get. Okay, so at 50, can I peel this? Let's see. And I can, but see, it's still hanging up in spots. So I need to go up just a little bit more. Again, like I said, when you make this first cut, if it was to cut through this liner and this film, you need to stop where you're at and back the blade up, because you want your force to be between 50 and 100. Okay, so, but I'm pretty close, so I need to go ahead and bump my force up by about, let's go by 5. Okay, alright, and my speed is at 450. I found that to be a decent speed on this machine. So now we're going to make another cut. let's see what we get this time. I'm just pushing up right here and raking across it with my finger. You see that? That's what you want. You want it to peel beautifully. Okay. And yeah. So that's what we, and you've seen how I set up a 40-inch roll. So now I'm going to show you guys how I set up a 24-inch roll. So we're going to need to slide this roller over. And what I want to do is I want to slide it to where the edge of this roller is on the edge of the film. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Edge of the roller, edge of the film. Okay. Then we're going to feed some out. And we're watching the edge of the film in correlation to this roller. And as you can see, that's not changing. So I'm on the money. So now I'm going to come back. I'm going to put my blade right inside of my roller. And now I'm ready to make a cut. With this machine, you don't have to hit any origin. It'll say ready to cut, you know, when you're just at the regular screen. Same thing to move everything in and out. Same with the arrows over. But yeah, so we got menu. Speed is at 450. My force is at 55. Again, you want to start with your force at 50. You want your blade to just, I mean, it doesn't even look like it should cut with where it's at. That's how far out that blade is. And it's a 45-degree blade. And so start at 50. If at 50 you make a test cut and you cut through the film in the liner, don't even go any further. Take the blade holder out, back the blade up, then come back. You know, around 50 you should be at least marking the film or cutting it some. That's the ideal force for this machine. So if 50 doesn't cut it, then you're gonna bump your force up by 5 or 10, and then you're gonna make another cut. If and when you get to 100 and you're still not cutting just the film and leaving the liner, then you need to go back down to 50, bump your blade out just a tiny bit. I mean, we're talking micro adjustments on these things. Okay, don't always rely on making it cut with the force. Sometimes you have to adjust your blade. And if you get it, make a cut and it's kind of wonky, where it's cutting in one place and cutting good in one place and not cutting good in another, and you know your cut strip is good and smooth, then sometimes you got to mess with that blade. Spin it in just a little bit or out, and just keep, these things take fine micro adjustments to get them to cut perfectly. Okay, guys? And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. Jump on a FaceTime, whatever it takes. Alright, guys? Hope this helps. Peace. In order to cut the film off of the plotter, there's a groove right here. And that is your cut channel. So you're going to stick your blade in there and cut it. But this is where it's going to finish. It's going to finish with the plotter, or with the cut above where you want to cut it. So you're just going to hit the button. And you're going to run your blade across like so. And then feed it back in a little bit. And now you're ready to cut again for your next cut. Okay? Hope that helps, guys. Peace.